Okay, let's do exercise 8 to exercises 2 and 3. This is actually a very, very handy thing to do. Takes you, take you a little bit to set up your actual budget. But this, especially as your budgets get more complex and you have a great deal of variance in smaller items to larger items, this is huge. This is like the canary in the coal mine. So you see here, you show the police department and fire department here having their annual budgets, what their actual expenditures were at this in month 1, and what their actual expenditures were in month 3. Now, when you're budgeting this, if you take 100%, you divide it by 12, you end up with it working out to about 8.33% of the budget per month. Now, what we want to know is how much off what we budgeted did we vary, and what is the percentage? They can tell you a lot. The actual number in variance, it tells you some things, but it doesn't tell you, for example, a small number thing, a small budget thing, the variance could be off a small number, but the percentage is huge, right? So what you want to know is what the actual amount variance was and how big the percentage is. Generally, what you will do in the real world is you'll flag something if the variance is over X number percent. Whatever it is that causes you heartburn, you want to know if the variance is off more than X amount. So here, this is a fairly simple way to do things, and we'll expand on this in exercise 3. Basically works pretty much the same way, just a little more complexity here. All right, so the percent budget is spent. This is real simple. We just want to know what the annual budget was. This is what we should have spent or what we predicted to spend. So in B5, and this is what the percentage of parting it out over 12 months, we will expect to spend 8.33% of this amount. We want to know how much that is. So pretty simple, equals B5 times D4. Remember, D4 represents that 8.33%, which is 1/12 of your yearly budget. It represents what you budget for 1 month. So if the budget works out right, you predicted you would have spent $11,219,289. You actually spent $11 million. So you budgeted more than what you actually spent. Now we want to know what that variance is. So first you want to know it in real dollars. So that's simply equals B5 minus B5. I think I told you B5. That's not. It's not B5. It is. There we go. D5. What we actually budgeted for minus what we actually spent, which is $219,289 that we have left in the kitty above and beyond what we budgeted for. All right. So we want to know what this is a percent variance. So doing the percent variance is just simply doing this. We're going to do E5 equals E5 divided by D5. E5, the variance, divided by D5, what we actually budgeted for. So we're off just a little under 2%. And that's not bad. Now, we'll do the same thing for the police department. Like here, B5 times D4. Well, in this case, we want equals 6 times How did the plus get in there? I'll just do it the hard way. I'm not, like I told you in a previous video, I'm not entirely sure I'm a fan of the way 365 handles these. All right, so it's equals C5. Should be the right times D4. That's D4. Yep. Times D4. Wait a minute. Get a little ahead of myself here. Saying one thing and I'm putting another in. B6. Why is that not putting that in there properly? Third time I thought I put it in there right the first time. It was the wrong number. All right, we're set. All right. So it's the annual budget times the 1 month, what we expect to be a 1 month expenditure, 8.33%, says that we should have spent $23,302,349. All right, what we really spent was $23,500. So we want to know the variance. So it'll be just like this one. Instead of D5 minus C5, it'll be D6 minus C6. So we actually overspent the budget, $197,651. So again, we want to know the percent variance. Just like this, E5 divided by D5 be E6 divided by D6. So your percent variance, you're negative 0.85%. So a little over 0.75% in the wrong direction. Now we want to see how this stuff holds up in month 3. Well, in month 3, the third month, 3 times 8.33, we will round up so it's a whole number to 25%. Otherwise, you end up a few fractions under. And we do just the same thing. We're just doing it for month 3. The cumulative, and remember, cumulative, not in month 3, up to month 3, including month 3. All right? So it'll be equals B5, which is your total annual, but your yearly annual budget, times what you're up to date, what you should be, which is the 25%, and that is in cell H4. So times H4 will tell you that to date on your budget, at this point, you should have spent this much. You actually spent this much. All right, well and good. Now we just want to know what the variance is. So we're going to do our math here. C5, and this is going to be this will be G and of course got to put a sign in there. So we're still about $1,171,375 above what we budgeted for. So basically, they're saying through the first 3 months of the year, you spent a little over $1 million less than what you figured you would spend. Percent variance, same thing that we did over here. You know, E5 divided by D5. Well, in this case, we're going to go I5 divided by H5. We're going to divide the variance by the budget actually spent. And so we're about 3.5% above, we have about 3.5% more budget left over than what we were anticipating at this time. Now look, you get you can see across 12 months, you're only a quarter of the way through your year here. This could go south pretty quickly. You get a couple, even 1, 2 really expensive calls, burn a lot of foam, or maybe you have you have a lot of people get sick or hurt or something. You've got a lot of overtime. I mean, you can burn this. This can go away pretty quickly. So, depending on what you've got built into your budget, this is just giving you an idea, kind of a ballpark estimate of where you're at. We'll do the same thing that we did here with the police budget. So it was B5, the actual budget, what you budgeted, times the percent you expected to spend by that month. Well, in this case, police are on line 6, so we'll go equals B6 times the percent of budget we expect to spend by that month 3, 25%. And by using the cell reference, it is H4. So at this point, the police are expected to expend almost $70 million of their budget. What they actually spent was $71 million. So unfortunately, they are going in the wrong direction here. All right, so we'll calculate the same way we did for the fire. It'll be the actual budgeted spent minus the actual amount. So in this case, instead of H5G5, it'll be H6G6 equals H6 minus G6. And they are in the hole. Remember, if it's in parentheses, it's a negative number. They're in the hole a little over $1 million. To find what that works out to in a variance, just like this, instead of I5H5, I6 divided by H6. Meaning they're about 1.52% more expensive than they expected to be at this time. And you'll see all of these now ring true. Now, the text answer, what they want you to do is explain what's going on. So right now, fire, the fire is, they actually spent $11 million. They expected to spend $11,219. Police expected to spend $23,500. They actually spent $23,302. So as you do the math across, you can see what's actually happening. Who's over and under spending. And so you're just going to say down here in the text answer, who's, what's going on? Who's spending more than what they actually have? Who's spending less than what they're actually should be spending? Like here in month 3, police have spent $71 million of their budget. You budgeted for them to spend $69.9, so they've already spent about $1 million over. If you project that across 4 quarters, and that ends up being actually, that spending holds up, they're going to end up about $4.25 million over budget at the end of the 12th month, right? And like in the case of fire is going to end up they're going to end up they're going to end up with about almost $5 million money left over at the end of the year, which is probably not a good idea. Need to buy something. All right, skip this forward to the next one. Now this is basically the same thing over here. You're just going to do this with like revenues and expenditures. So just like you did in exercise 2, the way you work out the budget spent, the variance, percent variance, you're going to do exactly the same thing. But 1 month budget, There's the third month budget, percent variance. So you're just going to do this right straight down the line, and then you're going to opine on what's going on. Okay? That is a pretty simple, straightforward. Do this just the way you did this, and this will all work out fine. Okay?